So here in this problem, we have four vectors, vector A, vector B, vector C, and vector D. Now these four vectors are arranged in a form of a square. Our goal will be to determine the vectors that are collinear, which of them are co-initial and which of them are equal. Let us begin. So here we'll start with the first one. We'll try to find out the vectors that are collinear. For that, we have to be familiar with the definition of collinearity. So collinearity has to do with the parallel stand of vectors, meaning a parallel vector, or we can say vectors that are parallel to each other, or vectors that are even anti-parallel to each other are said to be collinear. Meaning if we consider a line, if the two vectors can lie on this particular line, then the two vectors are said to be collinear with each other. Now from this particular diagram, we see vector A and vector C, they are going to be collinear because they're parallel to each other. So that means if we displace vector C and place it on top of A, so they're going to pass through one common line. That means they are going to have the common parallel stand. So here we can say that vector A and vector C are going to be collinear vectors. Then vector B and vector D, so these two vectors are also going to be collinear because these two vectors, they are anti-parallel to each other, but they do have the same parallel stand, meaning we can pick any one of the vector and place it on top of the other, and we can see here that they are going to pass through one single line. Okay, so collinearity is done. Moving on to the second part, co-initial. Two or more vectors are said to be co-initial if they have the same initial point. Now here, if we look at the vector C and vector D, clearly they are starting from the same point. So that means vector C and vector D have the same co-initial point, or you can say same initial point. So these two vectors, vector C and vector D, are co-initial in nature. Coming to the third one, now we have to find out vectors that are equal to each other. Now two vectors are said to be equal when they have the same magnitude and also the same direction. Now in this particular figure, we see that vector A and vector C, they are parallel to each other, they are of equal length, and also they are pointing in the same direction, that is downward. So here we will say that vector A equals the vector C.